Are you talking to me, lady? Yes. Don't. I'm Charles Renton with the Retro Review of Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker from 1981. The glorious year where on January 10th in the very early hours, I was brought into this world, and things were never the same again. Dun, dun, dun! Now, some of you may feel that that was a good day. Those of you that have a bad opinion of me feel that that was one of the worst days that mankind has ever dealt with, to the point that mankind peaked, and ever since I came into this world, well, mankind's popularity, purity, and just unabashed ability to basically be good just slid further and further and further and further and further down the goddamn mountain like Homer Simpson. And, well, it's gone to the deepest, darkest recesses of hell, and mankind will never be able to ever be good again as long as I exist. If you have that opinion of me, you might need help because I'm just a guy talking about movies. That being said, Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, speaking of movies, it was certainly a horror movie. It certainly had some ideas. It certainly had 3 writers. Remember that. It had 3 people writing this. It was also directed by William Asher, who did episodes of Bewitched and other television programs, and was trying to capitalize on the popularity of Halloween, Halloween 2, Electric Boogaloo, as well as the first Jason movie. Not the first Jason the Argonauts movie, but the first Friday the 13th movie, where Jason actually wasn't even the killer. It's a good Scream trivia question. So, what is the plot of Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker? Well, really, if you try to break down the plot, the title doesn't make a whole lot of goddamn sense, but it's a cool poster. Say that much. We have Aunt Cheryl Roberts. I have a family member named Cheryl. I mean, she's still alive, but I'm just going to pretend like she doesn't fucking exist because she's a goddamn idiot. If she happens to be watching this, you're a moron. You fucking know you are, you stupid tramp. But that being said, she is played by Susan Tyrrell. Cheryl in this, not the Cheryl in my, family tree. Family tree that could use quite a bit of trimming. A family tree that has Dutch elm disease. Enough about my family tree. Susan basically gives the, not even a scene chewing performance. It's like that scene in, the Frank Grimes episode of Simpson. No, he doesn't know. He eats more like a duck. Just swallowing. She doesn't chew the scenery. She's just swallowing the goddamn scenery. It's incredible. Now, sometimes that works. Sometimes it's ridiculous. Really, she's the best part of it because every other character is monumentally stupid. Basically, the idea is Aunt Cheryl must take care of her nephew, Billy, don't be a hero, Lynch, played by Jimmy McNichol, after his parents end up in an accident. In the opening of the movie, that's actually gut-bustingly hilarious with just how over-the-top it is. It's just so silly. And now, a number of years later, Billy is about to graduate high school, go off to college on a possible basketball scholarship. He has a girlfriend, Julie, played by Julia Duffy. And Cheryl basically has a very tight grip on Billy and wants an even tighter grip on him, if you get what I'm saying. Yes, the incestuous craziness is very, very prevalent. I will say that they at least try to play into that. I don't know if it's earned, but they play into it. And Detective Carlson is played by Bo Svensson, who uses the F slur for gay people at least 8 times in one scene. The 80s. I mean, I'm not saying people don't say that now, but Jesus. So, yes, there's an LGBTQ underlying thing. And essentially, it's very obvious where this whole damn thing's going. Who's behind all this stuff? It's Cheryl, and that's it. And then Billy must try to solve this mystery and get out of there before he's history. Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker Tales, woohoo. Okay, I didn't like this. Like, really. I mean, I found some of it entertaining. I didn't hate it. But I was seeing so much praise for it. Like, oh, it's ooey gooey 80s cheese. I mean, yes, but there are other movies, Sleepaway Camp, that did a whole lot better. Sleepaway Camp is not high-class entertainment as far as its writing. Its writing, actually, if you try to break it down, is pretty shit. The acting is, honest to God, pretty shit. But that ending is so fucking iconic, and I just enjoyed the breezy pace of this. This was just kind of bad. Bill Paxton was in this as Eddie. If you ever wanted to see Bill Paxton as a... Bill Paxton in a very short 80s basketball shorts. This is a movie for you, you weirdos. So, just a few scenes I'm going to talk about from here. They slam us right into the movie title. I think this was originally a TV movie, which is why it's a TV movie on Shudder. And they listed it as 1982, but everybody else listed it as 1981. So Cheryl takes a hold of Billy while Billy's mother and father go off to visit some grandparents, or visit their parents. And then they get up this mountain pass somewhere in Phoenix, California, I don't know. And they realize their brakes aren't working. I have a question. Were there no traffic lights? Did they not notice when they had to go around corners? Was this a straight shot from the house? How did they not notice their brakes were out? And this is not where they could be at their Ben Murphyist. That is a deep cut for MST3K fans. But instead of, I don't know, was there an e-brake in the car? Like, genuinely, if you hit the e-brake, it should stop it. You would stop on the side of the road and get some repairs. But whatever, they panic like idiots. A logging truck, shrieking Final Destination 2 noises, despite the fact that it hadn't existed for 22 years, or wouldn't exist for 22 years. The log goes through the guy's head. Actually, pretty good stunt there, I will say that. Or a pretty good bump. I think it was by a mannequin. I hope the guy didn't actually die. And then the truck and the car fall over. The woman screaming what's going on as they tumble into a goddamn creek, and then the car explodes. That was funny. If the movie had kept that goddamn tone, I would have been all for it. And 14 years later, Cheryl is too jealous, too clingy with Billy. Billy, don't be a hero is what I just kept thinking. Even in the 80s, or even the decade of the 80s, thought this was too 80s. Paxton has a brief thing as Eddie. He doesn't really get to do much. There is a coach that turns out actually is gay. That factors into the finish of this movie, despite the fact that Bo Svensson's Carlson essentially just lets his homophobia run rampant. And, yeah, Susan devours the goddamn scenery. It's actually hilarious. There's a TV repair guy that she tries to hit on. The guy doesn't want it. And then, but Billy's getting home, then he offers to have her pleasure him, take care of his TV tube, shall we say. And she ends up killing the guy, for reasons, because she just goes, well, she's insane. And this is supposed to be a comedy is what I wrote down, because I was just laughing. I wasn't scared by it. Billy has to know all this is bullshit, but he's been raised by this woman for years. Bo Svensson pretty much blows off anybody. Like, really. He doesn't seem to want to do his job. Billy is good at basketball. He has girlfriend Julie. There's, a mention of a guy named Chuck that was the mother's boyfriend. By the way, it was actually Cheryl's boyfriend. And so it turns out that the coach and the TV repair guy, Phil, they actually had matching rings, so they were gay. Okay. The movie never dives into enough of this stuff. It just seems to be throwing shit out there. Hence the 3 writers, I think, being a problem. There's a dog in there. The dog's fine. Bo uses the F slur at least 8 to 10 times in one scene. Eddie and Billy get in a fight just before this. Julia Duffy looked good. I'll say that much. But the stuff with Cheryl says, I know it's supposed to be like uncomfortable, but it's just like it doesn't feel earned discomfort. And more F slurs, because Bo is convinced Billy did it because Billy's actually gay. He's just putting on a front dating Julie because he was only raised by a woman and has only been raised by women. There was a woman named Margie that was in this. So basically, like, Cheryl just snaps more and more and more. She gets upset at Billy because Billy's been digging around her stuff. Billy finds out that, it turns out that there's a lot more about his aunt that he didn't know, such as bodies in the basement of past lovers. How she hid that smell, I don't know. She ends up drugging Billy so his basketball game doesn't go well because she doesn't want him to leave. All this jealousy, it doesn't feel earned. None of this feels earned. She ends up cutting her hair so she looks more Mrs. Voorhees-like, I guess. She is cleaning out the attic to give Billy a place of his own without having to leave. Julie is going to distract Cheryl, by the way, while Billy digs for more stuff. Cheryl is beating some meat. That's not a euphemism. She actually is. But then says, hey, Julie, can you go get this extra cut of meat out of this fridge? She can tell she's unhinged. She kicked them out of the house for sleeping together. Or kicked her out of the house for sleeping. And when Julie goes to get it, she gets hit on the back of the head with the wooden meat mallet thing. But then Margie shows up and is going to help Billy. But she just helps him to bed. Then she realizes that her friend is absolutely off her goddamn rocker. Cheryl ends up spilling the beans to Billy, basically, that, oh, by the way, I'm actually your mother, and your sister, or my sister, and her husband adopted you, but then I wanted you back, that's why I cut their brakes. So, instead of an aunt being incestuous, this is his mother being incestuous. Not that any of it is okay, but man, what in the Sigmund Freud is going on here? This is stumbling, is what I wrote. She ends up killing Margie when Margie tries to do some stuff. I don't know what I don't. She kills Margie in the yard with a machete. Again, this movie is really, really messy. I mean, it's not good messy. She does end up targeting Julie, who is still alive, despite being hit on the back of the fucking head by a meat mallet. And she's like, here, I can't say the word. S-L-U-T. I can spell it out because YouTube has problems with that. But this is turning to shit, is what I noted. And then while chasing Julie, they're trying to drown each other in this little lake or creek that's there, I guess. It seems like it's in a completely different part of the town, just from the house. But great, terrible editing, I mean, with trying to hit her in the head with the rock. Yes, you don't want to actually hit somebody in the head with a rock, but edit it better, because she went right past her with a few, and still went right past her with others. So, Billy then is trying to get on the phone. Cheryl's upset and is going to strangle him with the phone. He gets like a letter opener thing and stabs her. And she's, But then she manages to get the thing and is slashing him. This is after he calls the detective and says, hey, I killed my mother. Or maybe he killed the coach. Or he called the coach. He called somebody. Call somebody. But then she stabs him, but then he gets a fire poker, and she runs into it because she's a moron. And then Julie is rescued, says, look in the basement. By the way, there's a detective cook that was actually doing some investigating and got killed. Got his hand chopped off and then died. Bad editing. Bad all around here. And then Carlson says, well, I don't want to hear this shit because this guy's gay and I want to kill him. That's pretty much what he says. And then Billy ends up getting the gun because he's abusing the coach. Carlson's hitting the coach. And he ends up shooting Carlson a few times. And then they put up like a text that he was found not guilty due to temporary insanity. And him and Julie are at Denver University, or University of Denver. This is 92 minutes, and I don't think this movie knew what the fuck it wanted to be. There are alright scenes in this, but as a cohesive, even goofy slasher, it doesn't work. That's my take. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.